Facebook, come on in YouTube. We're getting ready to start my show called Jimmy Rants over on Instagram. And we are in the midst of a 7-day fast. And so I need you to come on in. We're going to get started here because I am running a little bit late getting to my show over on Instagram. But welcome in. Thanks for being here today. Feel free here on Facebook to share it on other pages, your pages, other pages. Hello, Norma. And hello to my YouTubers. Thank you guys for being here today. So share, and share some more. Hello, Tracy. Thanks for being here today. Got to get started now over on Instagram. Get this show on the road. And here we go. It's day 2 of the extended fast that we're doing this week. We're going to learn about some of the side effects from fasting here today on Jimmy Rants. Click on that little button down in the corner and you can watch this on replay on IGTV. JimmyRants.com is the website. And as always, you can engage live in the content. You got to go follow me. I'm over on Instagram. I am at Living Low Carb Man, LIVINLOWCARBMAN. Once you're there, you can engage live like all these amazing people coming in right here to watch Jimmy Rants here today on Instagram. We also simulcast live over here on my Facebook page, so welcome in you guys. Thank you for being here. Finally, we also have the YouTube stream up and running, so thank you guys for watching today on Jimmy Rants. If you missed the live here on Instagram, we go 11 a.m. Eastern time, Monday through Friday. Sometimes we do 5 p.m. Eastern on Monday through Friday, sometimes on the weekends, but almost always 11 a.m. Eastern. You can watch all the replays right here on Instagram at IGTV. So go look at my page there. You can see all the past episodes. We also put them up over on YouTube. Just type in a keyword, Jimmy Rants. You will find the show. Finally, we have all of them housed at the official website for this show, JimmyRants.com. And you can basically see all the past episodes there. Also, if you like what you see here and what we do here, I do have a Patreon page if you want to click on that and show your support. I don't charge anything for people to watch Jimmy Rants, and we try to provide a really good, entertaining, and educational show here. So if you like what we do here, definitely click on the Patreon page. But, you guys, we are in the midst of an extended fast this week. This is now officially day number 2 of the extended fast. If you missed it yesterday, we started a 7-day period, June the 1st. We're going all the way to the end of the week. So 7 days in a row of water and salt only. So everybody get your water, as I like to do, dilly dilly. And we're drinking the water. I do want to test my ketones, which I just did a cup of water and I just washed out my mouth. So this might dilute the ketones, but let's see how my breath ketones are doing. Again, I'm going to use the BioSense meter. MyBioSense.com. Is the website if you want to get one. If you put in coupon code Jimmy, they give you $20 off plus free shipping. And it's not, oh, it asked me to blow when I was not paying attention. Hang on a second, it's got to prepare it all over again. I have to watch the device because when you press it to go, you have to blow into it. And I did not blow into it, so now it's having to warm up again. But yeah, mybiosense.com if you want to get one of these devices. $20 off and free shipping if you use coupon code Jimmy. But it's a breath ketone device. If you're new and you haven't seen me talk about this yet, that is measurable in breath ketones, but it translates into blood ketones. So it's about a 10-to-1 ratio. So if I blow a 10 on here, that's equivalent to blowing a 1.0 or having a 1.0 blood ketones. All right, I'm paying attention this time. I need to blow into it. All right, here we go. All right, it's analyzing now. I missed it the last time. If you press go, you got like 3 seconds before it starts telling you to blow. So you have to kind of wait for a second. And if you're joining us late, yes, we are in the midst of fasting. And I'm showing in real time what my current breath ketones are. And again, I just drank some water before I did this. This probably messed up the reading a little bit. But it's a 3, which would be equivalent to a 0.3. Now, I've been fasting now just over 25 hours. So I probably have more ketones than that, but it just goes to show you, don't drink water before you test your ketones. I am wearing the continuous glucose monitor. So there it is in the back of my arm. That's the Freestyle Libre. And for those of you watching on Instagram, I took a screenshot just before I came on the air and there was my blood sugar. So currently it sits at 87 milligrams per deciliter, and that's what it is. It got down when I was sleeping last night. It got down to as low as what was it, 70? I think it got down into to 70 last night when I was in bed. Sometimes when I wake up in the middle of the night and I'm going to the bathroom or something, I'll just take a quick little reading. And yeah, I popped to 70. On the graph, it showed that I actually got below 70. So that's interesting. Really, really interesting. But we are doing content all week long, you guys, looking at this subject of fasting. And we're in probably the hardest day. So if you're in day 2, a lot of you are probably towards the end of your day 2 if you started on Sunday. A bunch of people started yesterday and just starting day 2. Day 2 tends to be the hardest for most people. And if you know that going in, then you can do things to try to mitigate some of the things. Water definitely is helpful, as is salt. And I just talk about Redmond's real salt. In fact, with salt, I would say get you a little bit in your, that's more than a little bit. That's a whole lot of bit. Should I take all this salt? Like, should I really just like, That's a lot of salt. I did not mean to get that much salt. I think I could drink water all day and I'll still taste salt water. Don't do that much salt. You just want like a pinch. And I had more than a pinch. Okay. Salt is good, but not too much. Okay, I was not meaning to do that, but I feel good. I got plenty of salt in my system. I don't think I'll need to eat salt the rest of the day now. Okay, so definitely salt up if it's day number 2. Drink up water, and then just do things to kind of take your mind off things. I will tell you, yesterday I did have a pretty strong bout with hunger right before going to bed. It was somewhere around 6:30. I started feeling pretty intense hunger. And of course, if you're getting that kind of hunger that close to bedtime, you don't want to drink a lot of water, or if you take salt in, you need to drink water with it because you'll get up and go to the bathroom all night. So I ended up going to bed right around 8:15, 8:30, something like that. And then I woke up this morning and had no hunger at all. So sometimes those hunger signals aren't really hunger. Maybe it's thirst, maybe it's other things. Maybe you're bored. Like right now, I can feel, I'm in hour 25 of this fast, and I can feel right there in the belly that there's a little bit of just kind of this hollowness, this emptiness. I mean, you haven't eaten in over 24 hours, so that's going to be normal. And of course, people say, well, I can't handle that. Well, no, you can handle that. During the daytime, use the salt, use water, deep breathe. And one thing that I notice when I'm outside and I have sun hitting me pretty good, I actually feel nourishment. It's kind of weird to talk about sun giving you nourishment, but you feel nourishment in your body, and it can calm down some of that hunger, some of that craving or whatever that you're feeling. So if that's you today, I hope that's a nice little tip that will help you. But I do have this nice article, was on the Diet Doctor website, so Dr. Andreas Ehrenfeld, and it was written by Megan Ramos, who is she works with Dr. Jason Fung, who I co-authored The Complete Guide to Fasting. So that's our book from 2016. You can get that on Amazon. But she works with him. A personal friend of mine, Megan, is. And she came up with this list of the most common side effects of fasting and then what you can do about it. So I thought it would be really worth going over these with you guys here today as the content on day number 2. And again, if you're just joining us, we are in the midst of a 7-day fasting challenge. It's water and salt only. So many of you are participating in this, so thank you for being here. And I'm trying all week long to provide you fresh content about fasting so that if you're deciding to do this now and you're in the midst of this with us, or if later on you want to fast, you can reference these and get the information now so that when you do go to fast, you've got it and you're able to be successful. All right, so let's read from this article. And again, this is written by Megan Ramos. I always tell patients to think about their body having two different factories. One is the sugar fueling factory and the other is the fat fueling factory. Many of us have been using our sugar fueling factory to keep our bodies running for years, maybe decades. So those of you that eat carbohydrates in your diet, you're a sugar burner. During that time, our fat fueling factory has been closed down. It has. So suddenly switching from eating all the time to fasting will force your body to fuel on the fat stores. You go from giving your body sugar fuel to now using fat for fuel. This means you must wake up the fat burning factory and slow down the usage of the sugar burning factory. Okay? So a lot of us, when we went keto, that's exactly what we did. We turned on the fat burning factory and we shuttered down the sugar burning factory. And I think those people who successfully make the switch over from sugar burners to fat burners, you have an easier time with fasting. It's one thing I mentioned on my post yesterday, my Jimmy Rants yesterday morning, was if you're not already keto adapted and you're trying to fast, you must like pain. Because a lot of these side effects that we're going to talk about could be mitigated if you just got keto adapted first. Imagine how many struggles it might take to slow down usage of the factory you're primarily used for years and then start up the fat factory, which has been sitting there collecting dust. It isn't going to be a perfectly smooth transition. There are going to be some inevitable barriers you'll have to push through in order to get the factory up and running efficiently. But for some people, this transition is flawless and they don't have any side effects at all. So what we're going to talk about here today does not mean when you fast over an extended period like all of us are doing this week, that you'll get all of these symptoms. But if you experience at least one of these symptoms, it could be as a result of the fasting. It doesn't mean anything's wrong. It's just you have to know this going into it. And maybe you've already experienced some of this. Others aren't so lucky if you fall into the category that experiences one of these undesired side effects below. Don't fret. Most of them go away completely within a few weeks of sticking to the same routine. So if you're doing a 7-day fast, they're even talking about intermittent fasting, some people getting some of the things we're about to talk about. But if you get one, it's not going to be that way forever. Sometimes people start fasting and they get some side effect that has not been there before. And then they stop fasting because, oh, I don't want to deal with that the rest of my life. Well, what if it's just something you deal with in the temporary and then it goes away? And then you don't have that issue again. And that's what you have to remind yourself of any of these things that we describe here. They won't last forever. So in our clinic, Megan again continues, we have noticed that side effects more frequently linger if people don't stick to their fasting protocol consistently. So if you've got some kind of a fasting protocol, even if it's intermittent fasting or some of these extended fasts like we're doing this week, you're going to get better at these side effects over time because you do them consistently. It's the people that say, well, I fasted for 3 days and I didn't feel anything, or I didn't get any better from the side effect. And next time I fasted, I had the exact same side effects. Well, when did you fast again? Oh, a year later, I had the exact same. Well, you weren't consistent with your fasting. This is the key, guys. It might be challenging to you, but the more consistent you are with having a fasting regimen, the sooner you can adapt and all these side effects that we're about to talk about will go away. So you are most likely to experience side effects if you are brand new to doing fasting. So if you've never done this before, never tried to push your body beyond 24 hours of fasting before, you may have this. Less common in people who start fasting after being low carb or keto, by the way. So low carb or keto is kind of your gateway into fasting and doing it well without having as many side effects. Or You get side effects after you consume more carbs and processed foods when you're on vacation or during the holidays. A lot of times people will come back from vacation or the holidays and they'll write me a DM. Should I go on a fast for a few days in order to ease back into ketosis? I'm like, yeah, if you like having a lot of pain and a lot of stuff happening in your body that won't feel good, no, get keto adapted. And then if you want to implement some fasting, that's fine at that point. But let's not pretend like that getting or going on a fast is going to magically put you back in ketosis without repercussions after having a carb binge. You are less likely to experience side effects if you're on low carb or keto before you fast because your body is already using fat for fuel. You don't deviate from your diet. For example, eat lots of junk foods on the weekends. There are people who eat keto during the week, junk foods on the weekend, and they're, man, this fasting sucks. Well, yeah, because you're not consistently letting your body be in a ketogenic, keto-adapted fat-burning state. And the more your body is in a fat-burning state before you start fasting, the better you'll do at fasting. And then finally, the people who are most successful and have the least number of side effects are the ones who stick with a regular fasting regimen. All right. So let's look at some of the most common side effects that come from fasting. And I see over here on Facebook, Maria has already identified the first one we're going to list here, Maria. And that's headaches, dizziness, mental fog, and lethargy. These side effects can be due to low sodium levels, which, as you guys know, if you watched earlier, I put a whole crap load of salt in my mouth. I will not be low on sodium for a little bit. Our insulin levels begin to drop significantly when you start fasting as well. And this drop in insulin sends a signal to your kidneys to release excess water, since insulin increases your water retention. Most people find they got to go pee a lot when they're new to fasting for this reason. So I talked about this yesterday. When you go keto, you dump a bunch of your glycogen stores, and thus early on getting keto adapted, shifting from sugar burner to fat burner, you do have to go urinate quite a bit. Well, when you fast, even the best keto person is still going to experience an increase in urination when you go fasting, because there's even more glycogen stores that are being dumped because the lowering of the insulin, as Megan noted in this article. As our bodies rid themselves of this excess water, we also lose sodium through the urine, which is why you have to replenish it. We're also not eating food at all, so we can have a decline in our electrolytes, which include sodium, potassium, and magnesium. I told you guys about these yesterday, the fasting drops from keto chow. It's a concentrated form of sodium and magnesium. They don't put potassium in here, and here's an important thing to think about too. People are like, do I need to take potassium? If you get proper levels of sodium, your body knows how to balance out sodium and potassium very well. So get adequate sodium, and then the magnesium in there completes the electrolyte blend. Our bodies tightly regulate all of these electrolyte levels, and this sudden change can throw your body off of homeostasis. So when you go onto an extended fast, like so many of us are doing right now, you're going to have to replenish electrolytes, which is why you tell me salt up, or you hear me tell you salt up, you hear me say drink up water, and get electrolytes. So the solution is, gee, imagine that, a pinch of some kind of a natural salt. This is Redmond's real salt, but really pink Himalayan sea salt, Celtic salt, under your tongue. So ideally you want to put it under your tongue, let it kind of ooze there, it gets into the bloodstream, and instantly a lot of the hunger, a lot of the cravings, a lot of the feeling bad starts to go away. We're talking about specifically the side effects of headache, dizziness, mental fog, and lethargy. Sodium is a powerful elixir. Use it. You could also put it in a glass of water a few times throughout the day. Drink some bone broth or a non-starchy vegetable broth. I find bone broth, for me, stokes hunger because of the protein in it. Not for everybody, but it does for me. She also says drink pickle juice, no sugar added. Again, a very concentrated form of sodium that might work for you. I know it's kind of the poor man's Gatorade is pickle juice. No sugar added, by the way. So if your sodium levels get too low, you may have to end the fast. So this is called the point of no return. And so you'll know it. When your sodium levels get low, all of these headache, dizziness, mental fog, and lethargy become so freaking intense, and it doesn't let up. It's the point of no return. That's the point. You don't play the hero, you end the fast. Yes, you had a goal of 7 days, but no, you did not fail. You just did not have adequate electrolyte supplementation this time, and don't make that same mistake the next time you fast. So to avoid this, take a pinch of salt or drink broth and pickle juice every 3 hours, even if you feel okay. This will prevent you from feeling unwell in the first place. So, yeah, that's great advice from Megan Ramos. Again, she's the one writing this article on dietdoctor.com. She works directly with patients with fasting with Dr. Jason Fung. So yeah, stay ahead of it. Don't let yourself get to the level where you start to feel bad before you do something about it, because at that point it's too late and you can't get back and feel good. So every 3 hours, making sure you're salting up, electrolyting up, and she highly recommends in this, her favorite one is the fasting drops from Keto Chow. KetoChow.xyz is the website if you want to get those. Really simple, and I've had this for a little while. It just takes a few drops at a time and it'll last you a long time. Okay, second side effect that's common with fasting and what to do about it is diarrhea. Have you guys experienced diarrhea? I know nobody wants to talk about their bathroom habits publicly, but yeah, we can tend to have diarrhea when you start fasting. It's an unpleasant side effect, can be extremely problematic, especially if you work at a job where you can't conveniently go to the bathroom a lot. And it's one of the most common side effects experienced by people brand new to fasting, especially if you're entering the fast after eating a lot of carbs. Trust me, your body's gonna do its best to dump the bleep out of there, literally the bleep out of you. You know, they always talk about taking like a barium solution for a colonoscopy. No, just fast for a few days and that's as good as a barium. I'm just kidding, of course, but those of you that have experienced the diarrhea pants when you're fasting, you know what I'm talking about. It may also be related to the dramatic drop in insulin levels, just like we just talked about, to excrete excess water. So excreting water can happen through sweat, through urine, and through your keister out the backside. There's no delicate way to say that, so it is what it is. And there are points in time when you're fasting, get ready. If you're not used to this, it's coming. You're gonna pee out of your butthole. I mean, that's just the fact of what happens with fasting. And again, it's your body dumping water, which is all the more reason you need to be replenishing that water, replenishing the electrolytes, because in that water is a bunch of electrolytes too. Replenish those things. But what I want you to celebrate when that happens is the fact that your insulin is going down, that you're giving your pancreas a break, that your body is in the process of healing. People see diarrhea and go, oh no, I'm sick. Oh no, you're not sick. You are healthier than you've ever been. You're cleaning out the junk and you're making your body better. So what is the solution to this diarrhea? You can take 1 tablespoon of psyllium husk, stir in a minimum of 1 cup of water, let it sit for 5 to 10 minutes before drinking it first thing in the morning. It's important to drink plenty of fluids when you take psyllium husk in order to get the effect. So taking the psyllium husk and then drinking lots of water behind that glass of water with the psyllium husk can help. Also repeat with a 2nd tablespoon if necessary later in the day. So this is how you can prevent the diarrhea from happening. So our bodies can lose electrolytes through bowel movement, just like we do through urination. People who experience diarrhea or watery stools will often start to experience symptoms of low sodium or potassium levels. So make sure you have extra sodium and electrolytes on those days. You can also just put it in your water or put it directly under your tongue. Remember, salt, the sweet elixir of fasting. If you're not salting up when you are fasting, you are destined to fail. All right, the opposite of diarrhea is, yes, it's constipation. If you're not eating, should you expect to have a poop in the first place? Everybody thinks you stop eating and suddenly poop is gone. Would it surprise you that on 21-day fasts that I've done before, that on day like 18, I'm still pooping stuff out the backside? It happens, guys. There's stuff deep inside of there. And it's almost kind of refreshing when you go deep into a fast and you're still pooping on day 6, 7, and you're still having stuff come out. Now, it's significantly less in volume than the early days, but it's true. And yes, we're talking crap on Jimmy Rants here today because it's the reality when you're fasting. Most of us are used to having one or two or one or more bowel movements a day. Sometimes it just feels weird or wrong not to have one. If you're not feeling uncomfortable, don't worry. But if you are feeling uncomfortable, you should try to troubleshoot your constipation. So some people have a digestive tract that moves a lot slower than others, and eating constantly helps to keep things moving along. So when you start fasting and you're not consuming anything to help move the previous meals through your system, you can experience some discomfort. So how do you deal with this one? Drink more water, especially when you're thirsty. Grab your water. Everybody get your water. Here we go. 3, 2, 1. Dilly dilly. That stuff's magical when you are fasting, guys. Take magnesium citrate to help hydrate your colon and get things moving along. Those of you that have heard me for a long time talk about taking magnesium, but avoid the citrate because it gives you poopy pants. Well, if you are constipated, you want magnesium citrate in your body to help move things along. And again, hydrate after you take magnesium citrate. And then exercise. When you exercise, you stimulate your bowels. And so you'll be able to get things moving again, literally and figuratively, if you do a little bit of movement. Doesn't take much. Just move your body. If all else fails, add a couple of teaspoons of coconut oil or MCT oil into tea or coffee that you have. It's not a perfect fast at that point, but it'll get things moving and grooving again. So I think sometimes we like to live by rules so much that we neglect we have bigger issues at hand. So if you're constipated while fasting, it's a lot better to have a little bit of MCT oil and get things moving again so you feel good, so you can ultimately be successful in your fast, than to end your fast simply because you couldn't get your constipation loosened. Next one. This is an interesting one because I measure my sleep with the Oura Ring. In fact, last night I got a 93 sleep score, had almost 2.5 hours each of REM and deep sleep. And one of the complaints that people have about fasting is that it makes you not be able to sleep. You get insomnia, and even some people start to feel anxious. Now, we have other things in our lives right now that are causing people to feel anxious, but fasting in and of itself, some people feel anxious and they can't sleep. These side effects can be due to the production of a counter-regulatory hormone called adrenaline. It's produced when we start fasting. Usually it's a very good thing because it helps to boost your metabolic rate and get you energy all throughout the day. But it can also make you feel energetic at times of the day when you'd rather be sleeping. So think about like 8 o'clock at night, 9 o'clock, whenever you go to bed, and your body is still revved up because of this adrenaline. That can make it hard to get to sleep. It can also make you feel jittery. Most people who don't suffer from anxiety report that they feel like they've had too much coffee when they first start fasting. I've never had that feeling when I'm fasting, that I feel like, I mean, I don't drink coffee, so I don't know what that really feels like, but I've never been jittery from fasting. I will tell you I have had some trouble sleeping in the past when fasting, but like she said earlier, as you fast and fast more consistently, that gets better with time. People who suffer from anxiety start to worry that the fasting is making it worse, but it probably doesn't. So if you're already one of those worry warts and people who are prone to getting anxious, and again, a lot of people right now with the world's events are kind of anxious anyway, fasting, people are worried about making it worse. It really doesn't make it worse at all. It's just your body producing more adrenaline that is making the jitters worse than usual, and your body will eventually adapt when you consistently fast. So what can you do about this insomnia and feeling anxious? Practice a proper bedtime etiquette, such as turning off all your electronic devices 90 minutes before bed, Wear blue light glasses in the evening. You can take Epsom salt baths that will help you relax. You'll also get the magnesium from the Epsom salts. Lather yourself in magnesium oil or gel in the evening. Take a magnesium glycinate or malate 4 to 6 hours before bed. Usually I take mine about 1 hour before bed, and I'm plenty sleepy by the time it's time to go to bed. And then scale back on the fasting if you find that it's being too disruptive of your sleeping. For example, if you're doing a 36-hour fast, maybe only do 24 hours and work your way up. So those of you doing the 7-day fast with me, maybe just try fasting for a few days, see how you do, and if the insomnia is bad, back off until you can work your way up to doing a 7-day fast. Even pro fasters can experience these side effects if they try to mix in a prolonged period of fasting into their regimen, which is what we're doing this week. If you're looking to dramatically increase the duration of your fast, pick a slower time in your life. For example, career, family, and social functions are all normal, where you can afford to be tired for a few days. So, she's saying, assume that you might have some bad nights of sleep. Now, one thing she did not put in here about sleep, and what I have experienced over the years myself, is when you have less sleep, it doesn't mean you have worse sleep. Less sleep is not a bad thing if you wake up rested. Now, what she's saying is a lot of people, they wake up early and they're not rested. But what if you only got, say, 6 hours of sleep? But you wake up and you feel energized, you feel great, like you got a good sleep. I can measure it with my Oura Ring. Not everybody has one of these devices. Maybe you have a Fitbit that measures your sleep. But I can measure exactly how my sleep quality was, not just duration, but sleep quality. And what I have found is I actually end up sleeping less when I'm fasting. And I have a theory about that. Think about what the body has to do to metabolize food. It's a process. It puts a lot of effort into processing that food, digesting the food. And so when you're not eating food at all, your body does not have to repair that part of your metabolism at night. And so if you don't have to repair it, those workers can go home early, and thus you wake up a little bit sooner. And so 6 hours of sleep during a fast does not mean you didn't sleep well. 6 hours of sleep might have meant you slept efficiently and they got the job of recovering your body done in shorter amount of time. Keto does the same thing as well, by the way. I've noticed people that shift from eating carbs over to ketosis, you don't have to sleep as long. Think about all those sugar burners and all the repair that has to happen while sleeping. Yeah, it's a lot. But once you're keto and now once you're fasting, your body doesn't have to work nearly as hard to repair. Next one, acid reflux. Megan says, we're not sure exactly why people experience acid reflux when they start fasting. From my many years of clinical experience, this side effect occurs in people who have a long-standing history of acid reflux. Rarely does it happen for the very first time when you're brand new to fasting. But there is good news. If you do suffer from reflux, it will likely improve or even disappear once your body has adapted to fasting on a regular basis, and especially if you continue after fasting eating a low-carb diet. Just like so many things in life, it goes from bad to worse to better. So if you start getting that reflux feeling, and I remember when I first started fasting, I got that pretty bad, and it would like burn all the way up to the throat. It was uncomfortable. But it doesn't last. It got better over time, and now I don't get it at all. People who have a history of reflux should take some preventative measures to prevent it from getting worse during fasting. Your solution is to add 1 to 3 tablespoons of lemon juice to your water throughout the day. You can add 1 to 3 tablespoons of raw unfiltered apple cider vinegar, ACV, to the water. And for you people who get the acid reflux, listen to this. Don't drink bone broth and don't drink pickle juice, okay? So those can make it worse. The lemon and the ACV, lemon juice and ACV can make it better, okay? So avoid spearmint as well as peppermint teas. They can make the acid reflux feeling worse as well. Instead, go for licorice tea, which will help prevent the reflux. So you guys getting good information out of this? I thought this was a really good article. Gout is the next one, and this one's personal to me because a couple of weeks ago I went to an ER clinic. My right ankle is swollen right now, and I'm in pain from it, and they diagnosed it as gout. I am not taking any medication for that. I refuse. I'm taking tart cherry extract, which is supposed to help with this, a more natural solution. I'm rubbing CBD oil on it as well, but Megan says gout is another one of these side effects some people get when they go on a fast. So like acid reflux, we don't know why people develop this while they're fasting. I've had less than 3 cases in nearly a decade where an individual with no history of gout developed it from a fast, especially intermittent fasting. So the solution is to start with intermittent fasting when you begin, no more than 24, 36, or 42, 3 times a week. Add 1 to 3 tablespoons of lime juice, and then she talks about taking that cherry root extract, which she says will not break your fast. So it's best for people with a history of gout to start off slowly when you have fasting. Go from 3 meals a day to 2 meals a day to 1 meal a day over the course of 1 to 2 months. If you have any gout pain, scale back. The remedies listed above are best used together as opposed to using one over the other. So do it all. And that will prevent that. Finally, what's the last side effect from fasting? And it's something we've heard about with ketosis and low-carb diets for years. Halitosis, or bad breath. Great things in life often come with a negative consequence. And one of the consequences of losing weight can be bad breath. It's also a consequence of being in a fat-burning state and producing ketones. It's keto breath. When we're experiencing keto breath, your tongue may become white. I haven't had white tongue in years. We have the taste of acetone in your mouth, so you get like a metallic taste. It's, again, for those of you that have not been keto adapted for long or you're brand new to all this, you can taste kind of a metallic taste early on. That's the acetone because it's a byproduct of fatty acid metabolism. Some people's spouses refuse to kiss them and even make them sleep in the guest room because the halitosis is so bad in the mornings. But don't worry, it's a sign that you're burning fat, and it's a very good sign. As fat loss begins to slow down, your breath will likely improve, your tongue will go back to being pink, and you'll be welcome back into your bedroom again. So, what are the solutions to the bad breath? Oil pool with coconut oil 2 to 3 times a week. If you've never done that before, you basically put coconut oil in your mouth and then you swish it around. And so coconut oil is antibacterial, which helps to clean up some of the nasty smelling buggers that are making your breath smell bad. Brush your teeth more frequently throughout the day during fasting. Plus, that can just make you feel better. Plus, if you're feeling the need to eat something and then you brush your teeth, sometimes it's that brushing teeth feeling that makes you go, yeah, I'm not ready to eat anymore. So it's kind of a cool trick. You could also use a tongue scraper to clean your teeth, clean your tongue off, and then finally drink more water. All right, so guys, that is some of the most common side effects that come from fasting and what you can do about it. And if you joined us late, we are in day number 2 of an extended fast. I'm doing a 7-day water fasting challenge this week, and so many of you are participating. If you're just watching this for the first time, it's not too late. Come on in, join us. You can do this, and don't feel like if you commit to 7 days that you have to do the 7 days. If at some point during the fast some of these side effects pop up and you can't get them to go away, don't be the hero. End your fast. There's no shame in that. The last time we did this group fast, I think it was day 4 or 5, I was dying. The side effects were killing me. I was having major hunger. I think I was stressed because I was coming up at the end of my work before my sabbatical, and so I had so much to do. It just did not work for me well. So I ended my fast, even though I'm leading the fast. So don't think you have to be the hero and keep going to 7 days when you're in a lot of pain. So yeah, join us on this fast. All right, I want to see what you guys have to say about these side effects. Feel free to include any others that you might be experiencing or have experienced in the past on doing extended fasting. We're going to come to Instagram Live first, then Facebook, then YouTube. Welcome in, welcome in. JimmyRants.com is the website. B. Parkman has the first comment. I lost 8 pounds of water between yesterday and today, but then I was carved up when I started this. Yes, you dumped all those carbs, you dumped all that glycogen from the carbs. So yeah, you'll see the weight loss slow down significantly. Linda says, good morning. Silly, silly, do it. I think you meant dilly, dilly, but maybe your autocorrect made it silly, silly. Silly, silly. I guess saying dilly, dilly is silly, silly. Leanne says, yay. Linda said, why did it change it to dilly to silly? I don't know. Jillian says, my blood sugar 93, ketones 1.3. Now that's interesting, and that's great. Keep up the good work. It looks like you're doing really well. Linda says, I'm reading the Complete Guide to Fasting right now. So those of you that have not gotten this as a resource, the Complete Guide to Fasting, it's a book I wrote 4 years ago with Dr. Jason Fung, the preeminent fasting expert in the entire world. And yeah, it's a good kind of starter's manual if you've never fasted before or didn't know why you needed to fast before. Just an FYI for everyone, for every gram of glycogen that you store, 3 grams of water bind to it. Hence, losing water when you lose glycogen from being in ketosis. That's interesting. Thank you for that information. So 3 times as much water as you do the glycogen. And so yeah, you're dumping glycogen, but you're dumping a whole heck of a lot more water. 42 hours fasted so far, says Sue. Sadzi says, is Epsom salt magnesium citrate? No, it is not. Magnesium citrate will be a separate magnesium supplement. It's literally called magnesium citrate. You can get in Vitamin Shop, GNC, wherever you get vitamins from. But magnesium citrate is in and of itself its own one. I'm not sure what the form of magnesium is in Epsom salt. I want to say it's glycinate, but I'm not sure. But it's not citrate. Does long-term fasting cause high cortisol due to the stress? Is this counterproductive? Great question. Thank you for that, by the way, Sadzi. It does lead to an increase in cortisol temporarily. So in those first few days when you're feeling the worst, when things are kind of going haywire, that's the cortisol going up. That's that adrenaline we talked about earlier. This is why some people can start to have insomnia and start having issues early on. I find that by the end of day number 3 and going into day 4, all of that cortisol effect that might happen from being in a fasted state tends to calm down. And a lot of that is just your body's natural mechanisms for protecting you kicking in. They think you're starving. It's trying to send you a signal. Dummy, we haven't been fed. Hello, Earth to Jimmy, anybody home? And so it's raising cortisol to try to make things send signals to you to eat something. But you've got a bigger purpose in mind. You're fasting for health. You're fasting for all the reasons you're fasting. So no, it is not counterproductive over the long term. And so I know people make that as the argument against fasting. Well, you're raising your cortisol. Okay, but what else is happening? You're getting a boost in your metabolism. You're lowering inflammation. You're lowering insulin. You're having lots of good things happen. So with every good thing, sometimes you get a few things that people might perceive as a bad thing, but I think the good outweighs the bad. Marley wants to know where you get the ring from. So it's called the Oura Ring. They are not a sponsor. I just happen to love the device. O-U-R-A. If you look them up online, you do a Google search, I'm sure you can find it. But yeah, I've been wearing that for years, tracking my sleep. This article is perfect. Thank you. Thank you, Linda. I thought it was pretty darn good. And Megan is a great friend of mine. Again, I got this off of dietdoctor.com. The title, Common Side Effects of Fasting. Sadzi says, I had pale bowels in the past while fasting. The hypochondriac in me found an article that said this indicates severe dehydration or liver disease. What are your thoughts? Don't Google symptoms, because everybody that Googles symptoms they have about anything in their health finds out they have cancer and they're dying tomorrow. So don't do that. So, I mean, if it finds you're dehydrated, then the solution is, once again, dilly dilly, drink up. I wouldn't worry about it. I do know that when I'm in a fast, I'll sometimes see a color change of my stools as well. It's not always going to do this, but I've seen some yellower types of ones. And the only thing I can think of is it's a part of the body dumping out maybe some fat stores. And so, yeah, I would not worry about that. Does goat stay on fasting? What is goat? Lavender Love, you're going to have to tell me, what does goat stay on fasting? I'm trying to figure out what you mean by that. I don't know what that means. Go right down there what you mean by goat. Marley says, would desiccated beef organ supplements break a fast? No. But I will tell you, on a fast, I am not taking supplements. The only one I might take is vitamin D, but I'm getting a lot of sunshine, so I'm not even taking as much of that. I am taking some CBD oil because of my ankle. I'm trying to think of what else oh, and I'm taking the tart cherry extract because of the ankle as well. But no, in general, I'm not taking supplements because I know for me on an empty stomach, supplements can actually give me really bad reaction with gastric reflux. So I don't do that. Lisa wants to know if fasting cures hives or makes them worse. Honestly, I don't know, Lisa. I've literally never heard anybody trying fasting for hives. But it would seem to me that the lowering of the inflammation that comes from fasting might help. That's definitely a question for Dr. Fung or Megan Ramos, since they see patients all the time. I don't see patients. I've never had hives, so I don't have firsthand experience about that. Probiotics help me there. Usually skin conditions are gut related, so fasting might help. Okay, thank you, Lavender Love, for chiming in. Is it normal for your energy to be low, and how low is too low? Well, again, if you have low energy, we talked about that in this article, that lethargy. Let me go back to that portion of the article because there was some really good stuff. Salt under your tongue or in a glass of water, drink bone broth or non-starchy vegetable broth, and drink pickle juice. Usually when you have that severe of lethargy, you're not getting enough electrolytes. So that's where things like these fasting drops, things like salt, are all going to be helpful in preventing that from happening. And again, as Megan said in her article, you want to be salting up probably every 3 hours. Even if you're asymptomatic of any problems, salt up because it's going to make you feel better. Kat says, oh my God, gout happened to me once while fasting. So weird, came out of nowhere on day 4. I ended the fast. That was brutal. Had to take pain meds for it. I don't take it now, even postpartum, or don't take pain meds even postpartum. Yeah, when I got this a few weeks ago, Kat, I'd literally never had anything like this before. And I want to know what triggered it. It wasn't fasting that triggered it. I don't know what happened to me. She said, weirdest part is I fast a lot and it only happened the one time. So I wonder if it was just a fluke thing and had nothing to do with your fasting at all. Steph says, fasted since Sunday at 2, feeling good. Soft dry for the last 16 plus hours. Will break dry at 36 hours tomorrow and resume water. Yeah, I'm not a big fan personally, Steph, of the whole dry fasting. And we talked about it in the Complete Guide to Fasting, that it could be a little bit problematic for some people, because when you are fasting, one of the things that's literally a lifesaver is to drink water in the midst of it. Now, I do know people that do the dry fasting. You do get one interesting benefit. If you want to try dry fasting, I do not recommend it, but I'm glad it works for you, Steph, and that you cycle in and off of dry fasting and wet fasting. Is that when you dry fast for 24 hours, it's the equivalent of fasting with water for about 2 to 3 days. So you do get a more intensified, but it's tough. If you're dry fasting, that's hardcore, girl, because I can't do that. I need lots of water when I'm fasting. George says Epsom salt is magnesium sulfate. Thank you, George. I knew it was not. B. Parkman said the same thing. I knew it was not citrate, but thank you. Sulfate. Rachel says, I'm only doing 3 days. I'm going to the lake later this week, and this girl isn't going to drink itself. Yeah. I saw what you did there, Rachel. Um, oh, she said gout, not goat. How would I know you wrote goat? I was sitting there going, what? Are these articles on PubMed? No, this article is on dietdoctor.com. So go look it up. Um, have you tried the Keto Aid, salt and ACV and water, sodium, water, and lime juice? Says Welcome Home Farm, Tennessee. Yeah, I do. I have some Keto Aid in there. They sent me some knowing I would be fasting. I wanted to see if I could make it. If I get to the point where I don't think I can make it, I might try it. So Keto Aid is this thing that actually is a ketone ester. So it's like an exogenous ketone, except it's a little drinkable form, and it will raise your ketones, which ostensibly could quell down any hunger. I haven't felt the need to do that. They're definitely not a sponsor or anything, but I might show you guys tomorrow on camera. But they got these nifty little kind of energy shot things that are ketone esters that could help you in the midst of this, but I don't think that's necessary per se. Definitely salt, ACV, water, all that stuff can help. Tim says, I'm doing a 7-day fast now. Yeah, we all are. Pretty much feeling good. However, if you salt up, how do you monitor sodium levels? I want to go over 6 grams per day, to be honest, or I don't want to go over. So you salt up, and see, here's the thing. People worry about, well, what if I eat too much salt or raise my blood pressure, cause problem? No, 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 no. Your body very tightly regulates your sodium levels. So if you give it salt, any excess, it will excrete out. Maybe that's why some people tend to have the diarrhea when they're on a fast and they're salting up. Maybe that's the body's way of excreting out that extra salt that it does not need. So if you have excess diarrhea, often when you are fasting, it could be you're having too much salt, so back off on the salt. I don't think you have any dangers unless you're just mainlining it all day of getting too much salt. But that every 3 hours, just a little pinch under the tongue every 3 hours, you should not get anywhere close to 6 grams per day. Steph says, dry fasting is new to me. Only 2 weeks ago, finally off of blood thinners, so I figured a day here and there would be intriguing. Hey, I'm all for N equals 1, so I'm glad that you're giving it a go. All right, thank you, Instagram. Going to come over here now to my Facebook page, and we'll be able to YouTube here in just a moment. What's up, guys? Let's see what you guys have to say about these side effects from fasting. Finally notified you were live, says Mark. Yeah, I've been told I was shadow banned on Facebook for a little while, so I'm not sure why they did that. Maria says, headache setting in. Can I take Tylenol PM if it gets worse? No, take lots of salt, and that headache will go away. It could be, too, the headache. Don't neglect this. If you're used to drinking caffeine in the form of coffee or tea or soda or energy drinks or anything, and you're suddenly not having those things, that could be the cause of your headache. So then you have to make the decision, okay, do you want to reintroduce those things while you're fasting? Some people do just fine having coffee, no sugar, no sweetener, no cream, no nothing. Tea that's unsweetened, even diet soda. Some people like those things when they're fasting, You have to figure that out for yourself. Some people get a stoking of hunger and insulin response when they have artificial sweeteners, and other people don't. Same with caffeine. Some people get a response, some people don't. So figure that out for you. Sebascan says, does anybody get cold when fasting? I get cold when I fast, even in the Texas heat. Yes, that's another side effect. I'm surprised that Megan did not put it in the list. Coldness is a side effect of perhaps some thyroid issues that could be going on. It's not uncommon. So a lot of people that go keto, same thing. If you undereat calories, same thing, or fasting. So yeah, it's really interesting. It sounds more like a thyroid issue than necessarily fasting. I would get thyroid numbers run and see if maybe you need to get that checked. Maria says, I love my tummy is shrinking. Started Sunday at 7 p.m. using the zero application. Yeah, I sometimes use these apps with fasting, but literally all it is with the zero app is start fasting. It just kind of does this countdown. I guess if you like the visual of seeing how long you fasted, it does do it in a nice little graph for you. Norma says hungry yesterday PM and okay this morning, feeling good almost to the end of day 2. This is a thing, like when the hunger comes on, it comes on in waves. So people think if they don't eat for a period of time, like 7 days, that they'll just get progressively hungrier and hungrier and hungrier and hungrier. And that's not the way it works. What happens is you just start fasting and then suddenly, I'm hungry, I'm hungry, I'm hungry, I'm hungry. If you can get past that little, your body screaming at you that you're hungry, if you can get past that little bit, then you will find it calms down. And the longer you're into the fast, you'll still have those little waves here and there, but the intensity of them are not near as bad as they are in day 1, 2, 3. So I'm glad you were able to overcome that, Norma. Norma says, extra cold feeling today, also heart palpitations, but okay, I'm used to that. Yeah, some people do report the heart palpitations. Again, I think it's where the insulin is lowering and there's some metabolic effects that are taking place. All good effects. But if it becomes too much, you can always end your fast. This is the cool thing. Everybody's like, no, you're starving yourself. No, you are not starving yourself, because at any moment you could end the fast. Okay? Because if it gets too much for you, just end the friggin' fast. Don't be the hero. Giselle says, what about the Keto Chow electrolyte fasting drops? Yeah, I've been showing them on camera constantly today and yesterday. They are powerful, that's for sure. Gout is triggered by stress. I have gout, also was diagnosed and shocked, but my uric acid was 13, says Giselle. Yeah, I don't have my uric acid back, but every time I've had uric acid run, it has not been high, so I definitely need to have that run here soon. Hunger has not been an issue, says Berkeley. Berkeley, that's great. Some people, they get hunger early on, and then it goes away. And this is officially now day number 2 of the fast here in the 7 days. Day 2 is usually the hardest. This is where people start to feel that intensity, because your body, if you're keto adapted, you're pretty much used to intermittent fasting 18 to 24 hours. So when you start getting over 24, the body goes, hello, dummy, are you gonna eat? Hello, hello, hello! And it just starts screaming at you with these hunger signals. And again, over time, that gets better because your body is like, oh, Dooman's fasting again. We're okay. Because it knows. When you get out of that habit is when it gets harder again. All right, thank you, Facebook. Let's go over to YouTube, see what you guys have to say. The sun helps hunger for sure. So strange, carbonated water and coffee with salt seems to work for me too. That's awesome. John says, are you done with kombucha during a fast? Yeah, I only did that for the first couple of fasts that I did. I found that it actually increased my diarrhea, John. So that was when I was first learning about doing longer fasts. And if you've read the complete guide to fasting, I talked about bone broth and kombucha early on when I was doing longer fasts. I just found in the end they're counterproductive for me anyway. Maybe at first they helped me, but then I learned over time they were actually stoking hunger and causing me to have more problems with fasting than I needed. Thank you, YouTube. Let me pop back over here to my Instagram page one final time before we sign off here today on Jimmy Rants. Does oil pulling with coconut oil not break your fast? Well, Sadsy, don't swallow the oil, spit it out. So no. I had a Diet Coke last night, big mistake, so hungry after. And Jillian, you just learned an important thing about yourself. You're not one of those people who does well with the artificial sweeteners when you're fasting. Not everybody. Some people, they drink diet soda, they have caffeine in coffee and tea, they have all these things, and it doesn't bother them. But other people do have trouble. This is why we're all different. It's why when I give you advice here on Jimmy Rants, I always want you to apply it to your own self and your own routine. Because something I say might or might not work for you. You just have to vet it out to see what does work for you. That's it for this episode of Jimmy Rants. JimmyRants.com is the website, and as always, you can engage live in the content. We go live right here on Instagram Monday through Friday, 11 a.m. Eastern Time, sometimes 5 p.m. during the week, sometimes on the weekends, but almost always right here, 11 a.m. Eastern Time on Jimmy Rants on Instagram. So you got to go follow me there at Livin' Low Carb Men, LIVINLOWCARBMAN. Once you are there, engage live, look at the regular content I do on my page. I have stories regularly. We put lots of information up on my Instagram page. We also simulcast over here on my Facebook page. Thank you guys for joining us today. And we simulcast on the live stream of my YouTube channel. So what's up, YouTube? Thanks for being here today, you guys. If you missed the live here, you can watch it on replay on IGTV, so check that out. You can also watch the past episodes over on YouTube. Type in a keyword, Jimmy Rants. You will find the show. Finally, JimmyRants.com is the official website. You will always find all the videos there. Support us at our Patreon page. There's a link there at JimmyRants.com. So until next time, you guys, we'll see you then. All right. Save that bad boy. Set it to the side. Talk to you guys a couple more minutes, and we're out of here. So, weird time in the world right now, is it not? Like, I'm really, really, really sad for our country right now and all the stuff that's going on. It just feels like we're living in the twilight zone, and this is real life. And I'm just incredibly, incredibly sad to see what's happening in America right now. And I hope it gets resolved soon. Because if it doesn't, I don't know what's going to happen. So I really hate the tone that's out there right now too. It feels like that if you try to say anything positive, that there's this kind of message of you're invalidated of having any opinion at all. And that's unfortunate. I think we all can come together and have discussions and can talk amongst each other, and not let it be a vitriolic thing. Just let it be a discussion and a learning opportunity. And it's quite unfortunate that we have gotten to this point where people can't share in love kind of what they're thinking. And yeah, it's out there right now, and it's unfortunate. I think every voice matters. I think everybody who wants to chime in with how we come to a solution and a resolution to all that we're going through need to be heard. And I know those voices that feel like they've been ostracized, they feel like they need to have their voices amplified. And I think right now a lot of people are putting a bright light on those voices, and that's great. I think we need to hear from them. But I don't think we amplify voices by squelching other voices per se. And it's just unfortunate that there's this climate that people feel like they have to be quiet when I want to hear from everybody. What's going on? What are people thinking? And have these conversations. It's a sad time right now, but we're going to get through this, guys. And I'm a big believer in humanity rising above challenges that come our way. And so I'm going to do my part to be a part of the solution and not a part of the problem. All right, let me pop off of here for now, you guys. I'll probably be back a little bit later on Jimmy Rants at 5 p.m. Eastern. I have an interesting one about one of the companies out there in the keto space that's promoting their exogenous ketones. The FTC is coming after them about their marketing practices, so I cannot wait to expose that. And it's pretty funny actually to me, because this company is about as sleazy as it comes. So I'll have more on that a little bit later on. So until then, we'll see you then. Bye, YouTube.